Happy Tuesday, America, and I mean all of you, except for Fox and Friends. Ducey, I want my bathrobe back and my Luther Vandross CDs. So last week, the Biden administration finally admitted the president was being a total when he accused Border Patrol agents of whipping illegal immigrants. Those were the actual words, total. The head of the Border Patrol announcing the results of their absurd months-long investigation into an incident that both the Dems and the media used to demonize innocent agents.
After an extensive review, the U.S. Attorney issued their decision not to prosecute the case. OPR found no evidence Border Patrol agents involved in this incident struck any person with their reins, intentionally or otherwise.
Thanks for the heads up, Chris. But we could have told you that on day one. Those claims were already debunked by everyone, including the guy who took the damn pictures. What a waste of taxpayer money, and all to cover their asses. But I got two words for you: instant replay. They use it in sports to clear up a questionable call, and this one wasn't even questionable. Even the migrant said, "Don't you dopes know how horses work?" But a second look should have cleared up any confusion immediately, like an NFL ref. Upon further review, the reins of the officers never made contact with the illegal immigrants. Therefore, there is no unnecessary roughness call. Please reset the clock to 2016. So long. Oh, yeah. But instead, the dumbest president in history smeared American citizens who were just doing the job he refused to do while he sat in a pool of his own ignorance, among other fluids.
To see people treated like they did, horses barely running them over, people being strapped, it's outrageous. I promise you those people will pay.
And as we all know, it also evoked images of some of the worst moments of our history, where that kind of behavior has been used against the indigenous people of our country, has been used against African Americans during times of slavery.
Saw horrifying images that do not reflect who we are, who we aspire to be, or the integrity and values of our truly heroic personnel in the Department of Homeland Security.
The horrific video of the CBP officers on horses using brutal and inappropriate measures against innocent people.
Once again, all of these are wrong. But more important, none of them apologized or even owned up to it. Of course, Kamala still hasn't apologized for her tweet defending race hoaxer Justice Smollett, and Joe never apologized for the tweet he tried to send from his toaster oven. They're just going to assume you're too distracted, panicking you with the latest monkeypox, babooneroids, or chimphazema. Sounds like a good drink. They think they won't be held accountable, and the sad thing is they're right, and they're laughing at us. You can hear Kamala's cackle. Either that or somebody punched a hyena. So they deserve no mercy tonight, and here's why. Joe Biden publicly condemned an American without any due process, something no president should ever do. Kamala compared Border Patrol agents to slave owners. How is that not hate speech? How does that not put a target on their backs? Sorry, lady, if there's anyone with a link to slave owners, it's someone named Kamala Harris. And I'm just quoting her dad, Professor Donald Harris, who wrote, quote, "My roots go back within my lifetime to paternal grandmother Miss Christie, descendant of Hamilton Brown, who was on record as plantation and slave owner of Brownstown, which is a town in Jamaica." Who knows if that's true, really, but if it is, that would make Kamala the first VP to owe reparations to herself. She can spend the money on a public speaking class. Of course, Alejandro Mayorkas is an incompetent clown. This guy looks like he should be assembling Christmas toys in the North Pole. Not being in charge of immigration. Every time I see him, I want to pull his ears like that weird rubber doll. By the way, that doll has a name. It's Panic Pete, which I guess beats Pedo Pete. That's a reference to a different story. Meanwhile, 4 agents are still to be punished for using bad language and unnecessary force, something I'm sure Hunter does every time he's with a hooker. Sorry, these guys are Border Patrol agents doing a brutal job. They aren't teachers at a finishing school in Switzerland. But we see the media in Dems' true colors. No matter the crisis, they only care when they can find an American villain. 50-plus migrants perish stacked in the back of a truck. Big deal, they say. But can you imagine if that happened under Trump's watch, the media would have had him pegged as the driver. But today you won't hear Biden say, I promise you those people will pay, unless he's advising Hunter on how to cut a deal with a gas company. Thank God we have a doctor nearby.
Diversity of this community, as distinct as the Bogotas of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio.
Looks like Joe is rubbing off on the doctor. And not in the usual way. You'd think a real-life medical expert would know the difference between people and inanimate things. But I guess when you're married to Joe, hard to tell. I wonder, Joe, what do you think of Dr. Jill's comments?
Hey, look, leave my wife alone. She's a doctor, all right? She'll get you. Look, she's right. I've been to those Bogotas. They're full of breakfast tacos. And you know, Jill got that from me. That's my nickname for the Hispanic people. I say, hey, come here, my little breakfast taco. Let me take a whiff of you. Oh, I got sour cream on my nose. You know, they like it. They like it. You know, all the minorities like me. I don't care who you are. The Latinx people, the Malcolm X people, they all like me.
It's good to laugh, but the treatment of those agents isn't funny at all. It's positively Orwellian. We're living in 1984. And no wonder. Joe loves that year. It's when he turned 60. Now, the agents could be suspended for 14 days. So you want a dystopian society? How about one that says you're innocent of a crime, but we're going to punish you anyway? Sorry, this is America, not a porn flick. Oh. It's like that old line from the head of Stalin's secret police. Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime. I'd do that with this guy, but we'd be here till 2040. But all this stuff is happening right now, right before your eyes. They're not even hiding it because they know they don't have to. Not with today's emasculated media. If we had a real press, you could not do this. Real journalists would know those were reins on those horses and not whips, and anyone saying otherwise was a horse's ass. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She's so brainy, zombie stalker. New York Post business reporter Lydia Moynihan. Well, you can't put him in a box, unlike most of his belongings.
Oh, damn.
Actor, writer, and divorced comedian Jamie Lissow. Well, she'll steal your heart and then your wallet. Fox News contributor Kat Tim. And good luck throwing him under the bus. My massive sidekick in the NWA World Television Champion, Tyrus. Why didn't Jill, Tyrus, good to see you, by the way, and I love the hat.
Man of a lot of hats around here, so I started changing it up.
Yeah, it's a nice hat.
Yeah.
It's a really nice hat.
Thank you. You can't have it. It's too big for you.
I could
it would be a boat for you.
Yeah, I could turn it upside down and go snowboarding.
Yeah, that's kind of what I just...
Or sledding would have been a better term.
Or boating, like I said before you went there, but it's cool. You were hot. Do your thing.
You know, I didn't hear it. Anyway, Bogotas. Have you been to a Bogota?
No, but I have been to speeches by out-of-touch old white women before, and You know what I think? This is the result. I'm going to take a little bit of the heat off of the administration. This is what happened when you don't have a good transition of power. I think what happened I think the Trump administration played some pranks on him. I think they took all the cords for the Xerox machines and left with them. So nobody reads anything. They all just wing it. And this is the entire administration has been winging it. They don't know what really happened at the border because no one watched the video.
Right.
They just told each other about it. So whenever they talk, they don't know the truth. And then Biden gets up there, and bless his little heart, he couldn't even get horses out.
Yeah.
He was like, "You're gonna ride this Mr. Ed, great show, love it." Like that's literally because the administration took the cords. And I think you should have played the rest of her speech because she just didn't call Latin Americans breakfast tacos. Like she kept going. She was like, and all my African American ribs and my white bags of oatmeal, and we're all favorite fattening food. None of us are anything exciting. Like no one got to be celery or something healthy. We were all like,
what would I
gross.
be?
What would you be?
Yes, if I were a food.
If you were a food?
Yes.
You'd be a pomegranate.
Why?
Ooh.
It's little, it's tiny, and as soon as it gets close to your mouth, you want to spit it out.
That was pretty quick. Pretty quick.
Wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, you do wear a lot of hats. Jamie, it's good to see you. You look fit.
Good to see you. It's good to be. That's so weird. Tyra said that. An egg roll cut me off on the way here.
No, he deserves it.
He deserves it.
He deserves it. I don't care. That you deserve.
How did you get divorced again?
This was fun, right? I thought this was a really fun speech by Joe Biden. Who are their speechwriters? Each other? What are they doing? Is it true? I mean, do you think she mispronounced it because of being out of touch? Like, we all go to bodega. Is it because things are delivered and I wish she had gone on and on though. Like, man, we went to the bodega. Then we went home and Joe mewed the law one, and I did the La Handre. Like, I don't think they do regular people stuff. They don't know what to say. But how weird is it that they just pretended the video was different than it was?
Yeah, incredible.
Like we could see. I always feel bad when I see like a policeman on a horse. I always wonder, does that mean like you did something wrong? Do you know, like if you're a really good cop, they go, oh, here's a car and a gun, and then if you're not that good, they're like, oh, here's a horse and a whip. And if you really suck, they're like, here's a bicycle and a flashlight, okay? Put all your stuff in the basket.
I would take the desk job over the horse job.
Right.
In a second.
Yeah.
Because, desk doesn't drop a big load of
Yeah.
Much, you weren't supposed to make any jokes about that, Gutfeld.
Yeah, but they didn't catch me. There's an alarm system about poop jokes now.
Oh.
And I'm right under the radar. Lydia, you are a reporter. Let's start with that.
I like to think of myself as such. Yeah.
Yes. So in your line of business, you would issue a correction. Why can't any of these people admit they were wrong and issue their own humanitarian correction, if they will?
Have they ever admitted they're wrong? No. I mean, I think this is peak 2022, that somebody's canceled not for something that they did, but for something that fits someone else's agenda. And I think it's pretty clear the agenda is that Joe Biden is not doing well with Hispanic voters. He thought this was the perfect situation to frame himself as the savior, and the facts didn't line up. But, that was then and this is now, and we've moved on. I think my favorite thing from this whole saga, though, is the National Association for Hispanic Journalists issued a statement condemning Joe Biden's remarks, and they ended it with, "We are not tacos."
Yes.
There you have it. We are not tacos.
But, Kat, what if I identified as a taco?
You probably will.
I will. I have a hard shell, but inside there's so many spicy ingredients.
All right.
A lot of beef.
All right. All right. No, that little Bogota Blossom breakfast taco mashup was one of like the derangest attempts at a compliment I've ever heard. And like most of the ones that I get begin with, if I were 50 years younger, well, you're not, so you probably shouldn't type those next 7 paragraphs. But does your wife know you're on here? But it also proves that in reality, the Bidens are not as woke as they pretend that they are. And they just latch onto certain buzzwords. They were like, oh, this is called Latinx inclusion, but there's an X for the S. Perfect. I'm going to go there and say that I love all my little tacos. Like, if they actually were paying attention to these things and not just listening to what other people are telling them to say and do, then there would not have been this very strange, I don't know, error. I don't know what they were trying to do, so I'll just say strange thing.
Yeah, you know, I do think that anytime you try to kowtow to diversity, it's embarrassing because you're actually doing exactly the opposite of what you're supposed to do. You go, yes, I see you're different. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to say that, oh, I get it. You're different. That's why it doesn't work. It makes everybody uncomfortable. All right, we got to move on. Up next, put up your dukes, because here come the nukes.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.